Welcome everybody here to Steve's Wrestling Ramble, welcome here to the Sports Talk Network channels, specifically Steve's Wrestling Ramble here for tonight here, Thursday night. Also, for those that probably will not be watching live, because you're watching the start of the 2017 NFL season, Kansas City Chiefs, New England Patriots. I do have it on television here in my home. I do have it on mute, of course, while I'm doing this show, so I stay focused on one thing at a time. But I do have the game on and everything, and I'll be talking about that game and the whole rest of the games for week one next week on Talking Packers with Steve, my NFL podcast, which now will be weekly on Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Central, same time as this show. Only on Wednesday nights and Thursday nights here with Steve's Wrestling on Ramble. This Thursday, we have a special episode. I'll talk about day in the life as a pro wrestler with the real deal Jayden Steele. Have him on, give his take on how things go in business and how things have gone for him in his wrestling career as well. Hopefully my team members will be able to join at some point, maybe even Mounty's Corner, Blue Team Next, whoever else wants to stop by and join in the conversation. Later on, we'll if my teammates do join in, I'll let them talk about Raw and SmackDown. And I already did the reviews on to give you my own spiel on those shows on Monday and Tuesday night after the shows aired here on this channel. So welcome to check those out. But here, usually how things are going to go now moving forward is with my Raw and SmackDown reviews. That's when I speak about it. Then on Thursdays with my team members that aren't able to make the reviews can give their review and thoughts of Raw and SmackDown accordingly here on this show. Makes sense. So let them give their 2 cents on the shows, which this week were certainly interesting episodes of Raw and SmackDown Live. Like I said, I do have the guest, man of the hour, guest here as usual. Real deal Jayden Steele. Nice to have him back on the program again. Jayden, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Just getting ready for that Jacksonville event on the 30th.
I certainly hope so. I did find out it's called the Wrestling Academy, the one I was talking about in Minnesota, that I was looking into myself. But I guess just to jump in, talking about these things. I guess giving the first question here. Maybe a simple question, but I just want to ask what got you into professional wrestling?
Let's see here. What got me into professional wrestling? Oh man, I could ramble like all night about that. Basically, man, as a kid, I was brought up in this business. My old man would go to WWF events, WCW, ECW, Smoky Mountain, NWA, the whole nine, and he would recollectly take me to more WWF events than anything like that I can remember from being so young. I started being in the WWF locker room around 4 years old. Sergeant Slaughter grew attached to me. I got pretty close to him, and seeing how the ethics and like the business perspective and like the lights and cameras and the glamour and everything, seeing it roll, it was just like a kid that's already in Hollywood before he's made, and you just can't describe like that feeling. It's like I knew what I was gonna do when I was at a young age. I just didn't know how I was gonna get there or what I was gonna do, but I know my damnedest I'm gonna end up there sooner or later.
All right. Switching here, just simply to start this off this way. If you could change anything about indie wrestling or how people perceive pro wrestling, what would you change and why?
If there was something I could change in the indie wrestling, I'd have to go with respect, man. Keeping it old school and traditional. I mean, I can't speak for everybody in the independent locker rooms, but like I said, I could speak for what I've done and what I've seen throughout my eyes, and that's lack of respect. My old man, of course, was Tony Parks from WWF back in the 80s up to the 90s. He basically beat the hell out of me in the ring. He was trained by Randy Savage, the only guy ever to be trained by Randy Savage. On top of that, I carry a very thick family bloodline, the last of Savage's bloodline, if you want to self-proclaim that. I have the privilege of saying that, and the brutal, like, beatings and like I mean you would almost want to call it a street fight from like getting trained like old school, from like getting your chest busted open to getting your head knocked around to, you know, landing on your skull from not tucking your chin from being a rookie to, you know, the whole 9 yards of just getting trained in general. And then the one thing that I got taught the most, and he was very adamant about, and that was respect. It doesn't matter if it was the janitor all the way down to one of them boys in the locker room to the fans, you treat everybody with respect. And I put an emphasis on that respect for the fact that I go to these independent locker rooms, and some of these guys around here, when I walk in, it's not a very professional scene. Like, you know, they're over there doing kayfabe and they're joking around and, you know, making penis and dick references. That's cool, but I mean, don't play weekend warrior or your Walmart job and then come over here on the weekend and throw your tights on and play superhero in the ring. I'm not getting down like that. If you want to work lazy, if you don't care about this business, you don't have a passion for it, you don't need to be in the ring with me. And the antics and like the way that they treat each other, and I mean, I'm not gonna speak for all of the promotions. It's not all of it, but I mean,
Mhm.
it's definitely out there. And the disrespect is just like it astonishes me for the fact of the guys that have already been there and done that, that paved the way for us. They want to sit there and stomp on the old school tradition. And the guys that paved our way, you want to sit there. I understand everybody wants to go their own way, make their own path, become who you want to be separately. That's cool. But let's not forget where our wrestling business came from, where it originated, and who started it. You know, I mean, my old man wasn't no Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know, anybody will tell you that. But you know what? He paved the way for what I get to do today. And I respect the hell out of that and understand that part of the business. And I might be only a year and a half into this business, but you won't see me walking in there with a hot head thinking, you know, I'm the best thing since sliced bread. I let my work in the ring do my talking for me. And being a second generation wrestler, it it's a gift and a curse. I mean, some guys look at it as a threat. When I walk into that locker room, they don't want me to take their spot. They want to shine. They don't want to see me succeed. And a lot of them will sit there and criticize me for who my dad was and try to play the riding daddy's coattail game. Well, let's get one thing straight. If you want to bring my old man into this, that's fine and dandy. That just shows me right there that you're scared of me and my athletic ability right out of the gate. But when you get into the ring with me and I steal your show when you put me in the opener or mid card, it doesn't matter. I will guarantee you when I walk out of that curtain, I will have your crowd louder in my match than you will have on any part of your card because I was trained professionally and properly. I have in ring psychology and I know how this business works. There's a lot more to it than just walking out there playing bad guy or playing good guy and trying to get over and get your cheap thrills in. It's a lot more to this business, and a lot of people don't understand that. I mean, I could go on forever about it, but
Right, right.
disrespect is definitely the one thing I would want to get rid of.
Yeah, you talk about promotions that you've been part of, and let the audience know like what actual promotional companies have you been affiliated with and worked with so far in your career in the indie circuit?
Um, if I had to spread it out and actually like count how many promotions that I've been to, I would probably honestly lose count. But as far as that question goes, um, something off the top of my head that some of the fans can relate to would be XW2000, which is Sika Hall of Famer, Roman Reigns' dad, of course.
Hmm.
Um, there's been All Pro Wrestling. There's been SCW, Rampage Gateway. Um, man, like the list goes on and on. With the indies, there's just so many promotions out there that just doesn't even really get credited, and it's really hard for them to get noticed or seen in the indies because you got so many people that are jumping in the business nowadays. Like it used to be, if you were a wrestler back in the 80s, 90s, we'll give it early 2000s. You know, it was rare to get or see a wrestler do that. Nowadays, everybody wants to play superhero instead of wrestler because I'm not going to use the word wrestler for a lot of these guys because you look at their work, their passion and their heart, it's not in it. But everybody is jumping in this business now, and what it's doing is these indie guys are going out with their day jobs and they're taking their money and they're throwing together a cheap promotion and calling themselves a company. Well, I mean, that's cool, and I respect you for loving the business, but don't jump into a business that you don't know nothing about and then give, the fans a pretty, horrible product for as far as the business perspective goes, because you don't know how to like take advantage of storylines and your actual talent and the whole nine. And it's just became an abundance of, who's got the money to put on a show.
Yeah, and one thing from my perspective as a fan, whether it's fan of pro wrestling, fan of WWE, of course, and just speaking with some other indie wrestlers, because as people, those that are subscribed to this channel are new, coming here for the first time, you're welcome to check out my 3 interviews that I've done with indie superstars in Britain, become popular over there, I guess. And spoke with some British indie wrestlers. One of them actually I will be interviewing again by the end of the calendar year. So look forward to that. But anyways, from speaking with them and their stories and everything on the road and life as a pro wrestler, I kind of want to get your stories, your travel stories, or ones that you want to tell. Iron, traveling, so people can get an understanding of a day-to-day life truly as a pro wrestler, from someone other, from a horse's mouth, from someone that actually does it.
All right, basically, for like in a fan's perspective, you guys watch it on TV and y'all see us perform and do our thing, or you go to these live shows and you see us perform. I'll break it down to a simple science for everybody. Whenever you're a professional wrestler, first thing you got to do before you even lace those boots and you even get trained, you seek out a gym. You get into that gym, you bust your ass 2 to 4 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week. You cannot miss the gym. That gym is your life. You have to live in that gym. There's no such thing as labor or chores or however you look at it. That gym is your life. You jump in that gym 6 days out of the week. I mean, I prefer 7, but if I can't get 7 and I'm traveling down the road, I'll go 6. So you start in the gym 2 to 4 hours a day, 6 days a week. Then you go and you seek a professional wrestling trainer. You go and you drop big money on it. They don't train you for free. So you spend thousands of dollars just to get the eligibility to train. So once you get trained, now you're ready to actually step foot in a ring. So you're training in the gym on top of that. You started training in the ring itself, and everybody has a variable for how long it takes. It'll generally take you 6 months to a year, depending on how well and how talented you are in the ring. It took me a little less than 6 months to learn all my craft, but in overall build of me being trained, I probably have over a year's worth of training from the people that I've been trained by. Once you get trained, you're looking at probably a year down the road after being trained. Then you seek out promotions. You're not going to get booked by yourself, so you got to go out there. You got to know somebody word to mouth, or you got to go to these wrestling promotions, and you basically got to beg them if you don't know anybody to get in there. So once you get started with that, they give you your shot, and then you're doing your gym time on top of your training. So you're getting the hell beat out of you the entire week. You're sore as hell from the gym. You get in the ring. Once you start bumping, see, what I hate is when these guys sit there and say wrestling's fake, blah, 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 blah. That's fine and dandy. Don't use the word fake in my face or anywhere near me if you're talking about my business. This is my work. This is my passion. I like the term choreographed. Choreographed is a hell of a lot better than the word fake. Because if you want to use the word fake to me, let me just suplex you in the damn ring one time, and then you get up and you tell me if it feels fake. I don't have air brakes. I don't jump off the top rope and just pull my air brakes and just land on the guy because I know how to fall. Like, there's a certain type of way to do this business. I mean, yeah, we're trained how to tuck our chins and bump, but what they don't understand is we're bumping on 22 by 16s in the ring. That's hard ass plywood, and it's really thick. And if you look at the padding on that ring, you'll be lucky to have an inch of padding. So when you sit there and you take a human body and you're getting slammed on this plywood, that's like at least like it's ridiculous. I just have to show you guys. Like, I have a ring actually here. Like, I'll have to take a picture of that and send it to you one day so you can see the actual plywood on it. But man, when I took my first bump on that, it was like God, it took the breath out of me, and like it hurt. It hurt like a mofo when I did that. And like when I hear people just, down talk our business about how it's fake and all that, you don't really know the word fake and you want to change your mind until you get hit in the head with a damn steel chair. You take a bump on that damn concrete floor if you don't think that wrestling ring's soft enough. It ain't no damn trampoline, I'll put it to you like that. But to continue on, after you get trained and you're hurting and you're sore, your body's constantly getting beat up. So you're constantly sore. There's not going to be a day out of this week that I don't go by where I'm not hurting. If I'm not hurting, I'm not trying, and I'm not keeping up with the pace that I should be at a professional level. So on top of that, being sore and hurting, you got to travel to these events. And these events in the independent scene, you travel almost like a WWE schedule. You're just not on the television like they are. So there'll be times where, like this event that I got coming up on the 30th, I'm going 6 hours out just one way. I mean, you're looking at a 12-hour drive just for one event to come back. I like to stack my events. So I try to get at least 2 events on a weekend that are close to each other. So whenever, say I'm going to Jacksonville on the 30th, I would like to have something in like Ocala or Tampa or something relevant to that. So that way I can do 2 shots and then head back this way. Um, you're basically, it's a long, lonely road, and you got to make friends where you can find them, but keep your enemies closer, because everybody in this business wants your spot. And if you're on top, then your time's limited. So use it up while you can.
That's where we get into the politics of things. Backstage politics. We hear it all the time, the news and rumors with WWE, just specifically, but I'm sure happens all promotions, all companies, all things, all professional wrestling. Politics, backstage politics. Sometimes your favoritism, this and that going on, and that kind of craziness, and how that really can affect your career. And not so if you're on the end of these favoritisms or political stuff backstage, but even negatively, or even if you're not talked about, like one guy's getting more chances because of this or whatever, and that can really rub some others the wrong way. Again, I guess that's how the business is. And for me, excuse me, as a fan looking in, with all the politics and issues and stuff like that, I just wonder why it's always that case. Why can't everybody just stay in their own lane, do what they need to do, be there for those shows? I mean, I try to tell people when they try to say it's fake, they do hurt. Try to do a swanton bomb off the top of the top rope there, or doing anything, just maybe even a simple suplex in the ring, which sounds simple to us fans, but you take him up by that, it's gonna hurt like his own bitch. So from there, but just with politicking and with how that goes in WWE and in all professions, or all companies and all indie promotions as well, just crazy of how that was effective. Maybe just because of my thinking, or just how I am, one track mind kind of person mostly, where if I was ever a wrestler in indie wrestling here in the States, I so focus on myself, make sure I work right, doing well in the ring, like I say this and that I don't have other time to care about or think about any backstage politics or any other issues. I'm here to do a job, move on, go to the next thing. That's kind of how I am in a way in life, where or in my jobs that I've had in the past, civilian, with I'm there to do a job. If you want to talk, fine. Befriend me or not, it's up to you. Sometimes people see that as a negative for me, personally, because I am an introvert. But overall in wrestling, my point being is that it just was confusing to me of that aspect of how it can affect some wrestlers and how it upsets them, or otherwise. I would have thought and hoped that most of them care less, because they have their own careers to worry about, their own matches going on. They're there for an event, especially in indie, going town, this and that, and the working out and all the other stuff that they have to do for themselves, beyond the matches itself, and all that political stuff and all the other issues or whatever stuff. As long as it's not directly affecting you or yourself, then I would think that wrestler wouldn't really care too much. And again, if anything is directly affecting you as an individual, then you'll care. But if it's just about other people that you're just saying and hearing, it's almost like like high school level stuff. And even as I talked about sometimes with backstage stuff with WWE, it all seems high schoolish with these issues and these political backstabbings and this and that goes on that you hear that I hear about and others do each and every week. Seems like in pro wrestling, I guess it just comes with the territory. But even at that, most I would think be able to keep grinding, trying to do better for themselves, this and that. No matter what level, whether you're indie or otherwise, or however. But speaking of that, even me saying that, do you think that indie wrestling is so right getting a bad rap, and then in the end, maybe even indie wrestling is where it's at even more so than the other wrestling? Because it seems like with WWE superstars that leave or whatever, even though they got their big fame from being on television and being in WWE, some of them are happy being back in indie, in the indie scene or doing stuff like that, being able to set their own schedule, do this, do that. What do you think about that?
No, you brought up a really good point. Like you almost nailed it directly on the head for being an outside source into a business like this. Like when you said it was almost like high school, like you almost hit it right on the head. Like you got to look at the wrestlers and like our politics and all that. You got to look at them as a bunch of women, man. Women speak, they talk. In this business, you're going to hear a lot of that, no matter where you're at, where you go. In our business, any publicity is good publicity, whether it's good nor bad. Um, as far as like you saying these names that are leaving TV and going out into the indies, like I got a personal friend, Adam Rose. He's on my Facebook actually right now. Um, yeah, he left WWE. I won't get into his contract issues and all that good stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
he went to the indie scene because he got his name and he was making his living on WWF television. Well, when you aren't on television anymore, what's the next thing you're going to do? You're not going to quit wrestling. I mean, you already made it and you made a name for yourself. You just don't quit especially if you love the business. So the next best thing is the independent scene. Well, when you get a name like, Adam Rose or any of them guys like Cody Rhodes, especially too, like they go out onto the indie scene, well, you can pretty much just name your price because these like indie promoters are going to pay you ridiculous money because you're a fresh name off TV to come and wrestle in their promotions. So Adam Rose was making an X amount of dollars on his contract for WWE. Well, guess what? Now he's an independent contractor. He's out here doing shots for these indie promotions. They could be paying him anywhere between $500 to $800 a pop. Well, if he sits there and does that, every single week, twice a week, whatever he wants to do, and gets 500 to 800 a pop, by the end of the year, he's making more than what he did in WWE and him doing it independently because they're paying him for them shots. You know what I'm saying? So the dude's making a comfortable living now because of his name, and he continued to work hard and for his passion of wrestling, he just brought it back to the independent world and give the fans, a more reliable source of wrestling than for the guys that can't afford those $1,000 WrestleMania tickets or those $300 Raw seats or et cetera, et cetera. And these indie promotions pay you nice once you got a name and all that and you're set up. As far as like a new guy coming into the business and stuff, you basically got to name your own price, and if the promoter thinks you're worth it, then he's going to give you that that X amount of dollars. But compared to 500 to 800 that he's making because he's off of TV, compared to say like the guy that just got in the business, he's looking at probably $20 on a good day compared to his $800 payout. So I mean, you do the math. I mean, you wrestle for what you're worth. So if you don't put
Mm-hmm.
your heart and soul into it, then I mean, you need to probably find a new job or a new career.
Exactly. Also, before I continue on, just wanted to say hello to everybody in the chat. Finally able to get over here. Mounty's Corner saying, brothers tuning in to listen while I'm having dinner right now. Uncle Ruckus saying hello. Mr. Bakara saying hello. So thanks to all those watching live. Welcome to like the video. And if you have a question for Jayden or even for myself on the other side is quote unquote media and otherwise, welcome to leave that here in the live chat. And I'll ask him, or if it's for me, I'll obviously answer my dang self. So, but before that's why I actually enjoy or have enjoyed interviewing the indie superstars from Britain. I actually still might be getting an invite to go over there to a show um, for one of the promotions there that a couple of us, or all three of them, actually have been part of over there for indie. So to me, again, from the outside looking in and looking at it as a media personality now and part of YouTube and everything, I actually um, find more interest and intrigue with interviewing indie stars than even if I ever get the opportunity to interview a current or former WWE superstar in my future. Because with everything that goes on, that being the grunt of professional wrestling, meaning the hardest workers, the ones that where you're getting your start. Where as you said, $20 is a good day for ones that are new, looking to work, new to the business and everything. Seeing that's where you find those diamond in the roughs, and that's why for WWE, and I think Triple H has already been doing it, and then going to indie events, especially indie promoters, and getting some, or at least searching out talent from there and giving them a tryout at NXT and this and that. I even tried to make a pitch on Twitter for the female superstar that or indie talent that I interviewed months ago. Again, she will be the one that I probably will be interviewing again here by the end of the calendar year for her to be part of the Mae Young Classic. In the end, she's not, but certainly wanted to get it because I think she's very talented just from seeing her work there. And I know I only got to know yourself, Jayden, for a short time. But if I knew you before any tournaments or anything going on, thinking that keep going, be one that if you so choose, it's all different with different indie stars, what their end goal is. If it is WWE or it's just to make a good living, support family, family or whatever that's going on for their individual personal lives, this and that, whatever they feel is their happiness, is their end game and goal for being in this business that we call professional wrestling. So I guess in that way, I'll ask this question: what would you say for yourself? In the time that you've been in pro wrestling, you've back, like you said, be brought up in the business as a kid, being your end game. Because, like I said, not everybody's end game is WWE. Sometimes people are happy with a different plateau. But what is Jayden Steele's plateau? Where does he want to be? Where does he want to see himself in an end game in the last place the last place we want to be, the end game, the final destination for your wrestling career moving on forward?
I think in all reality, everybody's dream or end goal is like WWE or some kind of main stage or branch. But my end goal at the end of the day, if I can sit there and look back and people can recognize me for my talent and my work in the ring, then it's a damn good day for me. I mean, I'm passionate and I love this business to death, and I don't go out there for the money. It's never been about the money and never will be. I mean, I have a second generation shoes to fill, and seeing my old man make it to the top of the mountain, I think I elude my tryouts for like NXT or TNA or ROH more than anything for the fact of I'm very, very picky about my own in-ring capabilities and the way that I look. Um, I said at 210. I mean, obviously, you could see in the picture that I'm pretty well fit. Well, like I constantly beat myself up in my own head mentally of not being big enough, or not having the wrong high spot count, or in-ring psychology or something. Like I constantly nitpick at every little thing that I do, and until I get to where I feel I'm perfected, to where when I walk in there, I am confident I'm going to receive that contract. I mean, that's just where I'm at with it. I mean, failure is not an option. I mean, I call myself the real deal. I mean, it's more than a gimmick to me. I feel I am the real deal. I feel like I'm the best Gulf Coast independent wrestler you have on the scene right now. Um, I mean, I would love for like a Mae Young Classic type ordeal for WWE to come around. If they did that, then you'd definitely see me go down there and try out in a heartbeat, because then I would be able to display my in-ring abilities towards the male part of the roster. Um, the whole tough enough thing, I was gonna do that a couple years ago, but reading in on that and hearing about it and stuff. It was more cardio based than like wrestling. And don't get me wrong, my cardio level's up to par. I mean, I can go 30 with damn near anybody out there. I won't blow up. It's not the way I was trained. But I want to show off my wrestling capability, not my cardio. You know, I feel enough hard work in the gym, anybody's cardio will be up to par. Let me get in the ring and show you guys what I can do. I mean, if you don't like the way that I work in the ring, then I mean that's fine. Just send me down the road. I mean, I'll put a smile on my face and I'll move on to the next one. I'm not gonna quit and I'm not gonna stop. I mean, yeah, my dad was a name in this business. It's really big shoes to fill, and I constantly feel like I got a boulder on my shoulders. But I don't look at it as if I'm not gonna make it in that business. I know I'm going to, and I know I'm gonna be on that big stage one of these days. It's just a fact of how fast and when will I seize the moment and actually appear and give you guys a fancy surprise.
Yeah, I know you're talking about Tough Enough. I know the last season that they did, I actually have a entry video myself. To be quite honest, no lie, because it's still on this channel. If you search it enough, or well, easy search. Point is, I still have that here. Going back to the live chat, Jay Thomas saying Steve not covering the Patriots game. Well, I have the Patriot game on right now as it starts kicking off the 2017 NFL season, but I'll be talking about that on my NFL show next week, along with all the other Week 1 games start off the season. But after the show, I might be live tweeting for whatever rest of the game there will be at that time. Uncle Ruckus has a question here for Jayden. I got a question. Wanted to ask, what is the most craziest thing that happened to you in the ring?
Can he be more specific? Crazy as in my athletic ability for pulling off moves, or injuries, or kayfabe?
No, I'll wait on for that. There's Ray Baccarat saying that he actually is training to be a wrestler right now. So I guess I could just simply ask you, what are your advice for people that are either looking into it or already have started to train? General advice for them.
My advice to anybody getting in this business: get a damn gym membership, bust your ass in that gym. If you don't have a professional wrestling trainer, I suggest it's going to cost a lot of money. I mean, wrestling isn't cheap. Like, you see all these people getting in this business, like I stated earlier, but what you don't understand is that they're using every little last cent and dime of their money, and they're going out and they're dropping $5,000 to like nobody's training them. Don't be very, very picky on who you get trained by, because remember, you have a resume in this business. So when you present that to a promotion, they're going to look at your background and where you've come from. I have a background that's very highly decorative, but if I didn't have that, then I would take that $5,000 that this independent wrestler is trying to train me on, and I would take it over to like Harley Race's school, WA4, Team 3D Academy, somewhere with a name, because when you're done with that and you graduate, you'll always have their signature on your resume, and that'll get you further than it would just getting trained in a backyard somebody.
Mm-hmm. All right. The destroyer Baccarat here in the live chat saying that Jayden knows me from Twitter, so I guess interacted with him or whoever, or someone like that. Uncle Ruckus clarifying, talking about athletic moves and kayfabe with this question, most craziest thing that happened to you in the ring.
Both athletic. I'm gonna have to say I was over there in Georgia, around the Atlanta area, and we were having a ladder match, and for some reason everybody in the back was sketched out about going off the top of the ladder to the outside of the ring. Well, me being trained by who I was, I mean, I'm a crazy SOB. Like, if you tell me that I can't do something and I know I can do it, then I'm gonna do it. And I'm always looking for a moment to steal your show. So when I'm sitting there in the ladder match, nobody wanted to go out of the ladder outside the ring. Well, we get into this spot where we're fighting for the little briefcase for their ordeal, using the gimmick that they were doing for the briefcase to kind of like a Money in the Bank scenario, but not. and it was for like the rights to go for a #1 contendership. It wasn't a cash-in ordeal, and we did a couple of false hope shots, whatever you want to call them, and climbed up top on the ladder and had one of the boys, grab me up, push me off the ladder. The dude that was up there with me, he didn't go out of the ring with me. He stayed inside the ring and got hung up on the rope. Well, I took that spill outside the ring there, and I tell you what, that was the very first time I ever fell off of the top of a ladder to the outside of a ring. And when I hit that damn concrete, it felt like I literally just belly flopped off of a high diving board into a pool. And it took my breath away. And I was just sitting there and I was like, you know what? I'm not going out like this. And there was a couple of us sitting outside the ring there. And go over there, I called a spot, told him to sit still, got into the ring. And I placed the ladder up. And the craziest thing I've ever done, man, like I climbed to the top of that ladder and did a 450 splash from the top of the ladder to the very outside of the ring. I mean, thankfully, I landed on them and they didn't move, or you probably wouldn't be talking to me to this day.
Wow. Destroyer here, correcting me on his name, Bakara. Okay. Bakara. Either way, he's asking, hey, Jayden, you're going to fight my trainer. He is in Florida right now. So he's asking
Am I going to do what to his trainer?
He's asking if you're fighting his trainer there at your next show there in Jacksonville. Or who you, because he doesn't.
Well, that would require his trainer to like actually get trained properly instead of a backyard, and not actually require him to get into the ring instead of shitting his pants. But like I said, that's all kayfabe. So if he wants to get serious and he actually gets trained properly, I don't have a problem, making him look bad in front of his audience. But until then, I mean, come at me when you're actually like trained professionally instead of giving these kids like false dreams and hopes and taking their money.
Tell us about your first and/or your most memorable match that you've had so far in the Indies.
Damn, I've done so many matches. I'm probably memorable. I'm gonna have to say it was gonna be me and Airman Banks, and that was in Pensacola, Florida, where we were second or third on the card. And when we went out there, we never met before in our entire lives. And we just pulled up to the event. They came up and said, "Hey, Jayden, you're working Airman. Airman, you're working Jayden." And introduced ourselves. And he said, "How you want to do this?" And I told him I'm old school. I like to call it in the ring. That was all that was said. We walked out there whenever the show started. And I'd be damned if the chemistry that me and that man had for not working each other, it was phenomenal. Like, I didn't have to call very much anything. And like we just flowed. We had that chemistry. We tore that house down, man. Like I remember going from inside the ring to outside the ring to doing the steel chair rebound off the ropes and cracking myself in the head with it to let him hit me with the finish. And just that entire match just felt so smooth and fluent, and like the fans got behind us 100%. And they were trying this manager gimmick with me and everything else, and they never let me use the mic, so they didn't know I had mic skills. So like I got put out there as a heel with a manager, and we didn't even need him. Like our work spoke for our actions, and I'd be damned if like we didn't steal that show. I mean, they didn't even get half as loud for the main event by the time we rolled by, and Airman came off the top, hit me with the finish, and when he pinned me, he just rolled over and told me thank you. That was a hellacious match, and when we got back into the locker room, we hugged it out and, was giving each other props and thanks and moved on to the next show.
Wow. Here being my actual last official question for you. What's the best advice anyone has ever given? What's the best advice anyone in the business has given you?
The best advice I've ever been given. Damn, I've talked to a lot of people in this business. I I'd have to say the best advice I ever gotten was from my old man. I mean, he was there on top of the mountain at one point, and just as a kid watching him perform and being in that environment to like actually standing tall in the ring, looking across from him, basically anything that he told me in that ring, like, you guys look at, the wrestling as wrestling. When I got in there, he broke it down to like one big math problem for me. You guys see four sides of the ring, I see eight. Um, where's the middle of the ring? You guys would say the middle. It's between me and my opponent. Um, but I would have to say, memorably, the best advice he given me was like his when he'd preach about in-ring psychology, because that is so important in this business to have in-ring psychology. Because if that's not there, then you don't have a superstar. You don't have nothing in the making. You don't have a good match. I mean, psychology is just one of the fundamentals that I would preach the most on. And when it comes to psychology in the ring, my old man has every bit of it and then some. So I got to thank him for spreading the advice and giving me the training and tips that he did for my in-ring psychology, because I pride myself on my in-ring psychology.
Okay, yeah, like I said, that was my last question. Hopefully, my questions were good ones, and I wanted to throw it your way. Don't mean to put you on the spot, but if you have questions back this way, meaning for me, again, me being on the other side, looking at me doing this podcast, this YouTube channel, all my hard work, I call it here, and my thing is different non-injuring myself hard work like you do each and every day with your body, and as a pro wrestler in the indie scene, actually doing the thing, and actually wrestling. But me on my end, my hard work that I pretty much feel is like 40-hour work. Point being is, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, I got a couple I can throw your way. As far as putting me on the spot, man, hit me. I'm ready, baby. I mean, I don't get in the wrestling ring for no reason to entertain hundreds of thousands of people. So, I mean, there ain't really nothing you can throw my way that I can't handle. So, I mean, even if the fans out there got anything they want to say, I mean, hit me with them. That's why I'm here. I mean, I love to rant and I love to work. So, if you guys got any wrestling questions that you really want to know about, I mean, I'll break kayfabe and tell you guys what you need to know. But as far as me and you go, man, I see like you love wrestling. I mean, you wouldn't be doing these podcasts if you didn't. So if you sat there and had one match that you could work, who would you pick for an opponent? Why? And would you consider actually stepping in the ring with them, or would you rather be watching?
I would say I would have to get the training, this and that to actually get in the ring. But theoretically, um, Curtis Axel has always been a wrestler with his family background and everything that I would actually want to get in the ring with. I know how he's perceived with the outside with WWE Universe fans, whether jokingly or actually meaning it, being a jobber and this and that and all this other crap. And in the end, maybe he is, but he's doing his job and he's working hard and he still takes bumps, still does matches, still in WWE. Heck, he's still on TV. And now he's part of the Miz Taraj in one of the two, I would say, second biggest feud, if I can get there, second biggest feud on Monday Night Raw on the Raw brand, and being on Monday Night Raw, the number one show in WWE, that their eyes the flagship. So, but I would say, and I kind of was saying it since he got in the business, Curtis Axel, WWE superstar Curtis Axel, would be the one I would like to would want to work with in the ring, and if I'm not able to actually get trained for it, I actually would like to actually watch a wrestling show or something with WWE superstar Curtis Axel. Watching a show or a pay-per-view event, pick his brain just as much as I've been picking yours here live on air on my podcast. But him in person, even no cameras, no tape, nothing undercover either that way. But just hearing from him, from his family, his stories, and everything, and how life for him has been in WWE and otherwise in his own. So I would say the one that I've been following, beyond my major ones that I've been following, is big fans of The Undertaker, Austin, others. But beyond an actual wrestling sense would be Curtis Axel. And that would be the one wrestler that I can think of off the top of my head, WWE or otherwise, that I would want to work with in any capacity.
All right, I'll throw you something else. What do you learn the most when you actually get on here and do broadcasts with actual workers? What do you experience from that at the end of the day?
Yeah, when I actually when I do my interviews, like I said, with the superstars or wrestlers that I have so far, again from indie promotions in England. So I do thank all three of them for doing that, and again, look forward to have other interviews in the future. But the biggest thing I take away from it, the biggest thing I learn is just how much dang work it takes to be a wrestler. That it's not as simple as some think. And I never thought it was simple. Trust me, I'm not saying that I ever was in that kind of category thinking. I knew it was hard work, and I assumed it to be and thought it to be. And that's why it upsets me twofold now, being in the media, interviewing talent from around the world and otherwise. And getting to know their stories, getting to know their day-to-days and this and that, and how actually the business is to them and how they approach it. And now you included from today's episode, that I think the biggest thing I take away from it is how hard you work and how long days are and months and crazy years in scheduling and how much you work and how much the wrestling audience doesn't understand or even appreciate that fact of it. That we only see you for those minutes or whatever time you're actually wrestling at the event that we're attending, and not understanding how it is after the show, going on backstage and this and that and all the other craziness, and not just craziness, but part of the business that you go through. Especially what kind of blows my mind is hearing about the start of it. Getting in the train, how much money, and not just money and sacrifice it takes to be a professional wrestler, and how it truly has to be someone's passion to do so. Otherwise, you shouldn't do it, because you'd be wasting your damn money if it's not your passion, and you're wasting other people's time. And efforts in the same vein. So as much as I've always loved professional wrestling, I always will love professional wrestling. That's why I do what I gosh darn do here pretty much every single day. I know I'm only on air a short amount of time, because sometimes I feel that way. I'm only on for a short amount of time each day or doing a video about something and whatever, but people don't either understand or care or see all the work I do from the other times after doing my job, my work that I do. An assisted living place that I work, excuse me, taking care of elderly as my day job. Then coming home, relaxing a little bit, then preparing for a podcast, preparing for a video, or finding out on Twitter there's breaking news. So sometimes I jump in with a breaking news video or this and that, and all of my other hard work that I do outside. All the work that I did leading up to this episode to here to speak with you, Jayden. And every week, and how I prepare for that, because in a way I am a perfectionist, but I also am a shy person. And doing these shows and talking to talents that have been, are, and will be in the business, kind of is getting me a little bit more and more out of my shell. Though you do see I don't swear a lot, but I still, sometimes when I have to, I do. But beyond that, I show my passion in a different way. I don't show it by screaming and yelling. I don't show it like other YouTubers by swearing all the time or throwing stuff around in videos if I was on camera. I don't show my passion that way, but trust me, I do have that passion for professional wrestling. I may sound monotone, I may sound in my relaxed state, but trust me, it's within me. And trust me, if you were sitting with me, if you were hanging out with me here in the Badger State, here in Wisconsin, at home watching a Monday Night Raw, watching a pay-per-view event, and watching my reactions truly to some of these matches and things going and how the booking went and blah, 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 as a fan, trust me, you see colorful language there for sure. Now, again, I don't like to swear that, but sometimes, it does come out when I'm befuddled by a booking decision or someone wanting this and that, just like any or most fans are. I don't overdo it, and I don't whine or complain on Twitter, but if I do have a question or comment, I'm just say it once, and I try to move on from there unless others want me to divulge. But no, that's the biggest thing I take away from it, is how much time and effort, work, determination, and moolah, dinero, money, to be a professional wrestler. And how from the interviews, that, like I said, you have to be serious about it. It has to be your passion to do it. Otherwise, you're wasting people's time and you're wasting your fucking money. And I'm a person that doesn't want to waste my money. because I earn my money in my job. I'm going to use it in what I feel is best. Like I hope to here soon for the podcast, getting an actual camera, this and that, and making it audio and visually better for the viewing public.
No, you brought up pretty good valid points right there. I'll start with like one of the first ones is you come out of your shell. I can see a major difference from when I joined you like 2, 3, 4 weeks ago compared to what you're doing now. Like I got you out of your shell. And you're more talkative. You're not, shy. I mean, you kind of like almost got like an excitement behind your voice. We just got to find your character, your gizimic in old school Carney. Better to speak for itself. We find your gizimic, man, and look out, Howard Stern. Here comes Steve. But as far as you said, bringing up and wasting your money and get the hell out, et cetera, et cetera. Like I don't like to shoot on very many people or organizations in general because I like to keep it classy. But I'm the real deal for a reason, and drama creates a good show for the viewers. But as far as that goes, man, like you can go to my YouTube channel and go to one of those matches on there where it says Jayden Steele versus the California Kid for the semi-finals for the championship belt. Man, I tell you what, and this is a straight shoot. And shoot in this wrestling business means for real, no kayfabe, no gimmick, no bullshit for all you viewers that are out there listening. I showed up there at XW 2000, which earlier I told you about, Sika's event, Roman Reigns' dad. And I was with that company for like 4 to 6 months. It was about 5 months because I quit around the 5.5, 6 month marker. And I basically got in there. I was booked all the way to December with them, actually, on a real shoot. I was booked with them till December. And I went over there. They were promising, with the promoter at that time. I don't think he's over there promoting it now. I think they got rid of him. But he was basically giving me hopes and dreams and just like trying to tag me along. And with my background and how serious and how passionate I am about this business, don't fuck me over. You know what I mean? Like I'm not asking for your belt. I just want, a fair opportunity like anybody else. Don't walk up to me and tell me you're going to do this or you're going to do that with me and then send me out there and bullshit me for those months and then go back on what you've been telling me. Like when you sit there and tell me you're going to push me, you're going to do this, you're going to change the gimmick, and it got so bad and so, to the point to where they were trying to take control of my gimmick. And when you step foot on me, like you're stepping on my toes when you try to take my gimmick away. And especially when my gimmick, like I'm the real deal Jayden Steele, all right? When I run heel, I like to bring in my father, which was the real deal Randy Steele at one point before Tony Parks. And I like to run him as a manager, and especially for a mouthpiece. And he was even offering to go to these damn organizations and just to help me out and help them out. And, he'll draw 150, 200 people by himself. So, I mean, there's money to be made there if you're a promoter. I mean, you see dollar signs. That's why you're doing wrestling shows, And he's even offered to go in there and do it free and just, just to help me out and expand me. Well, when you bullshit me around and you sit there and you try to take my mouthpiece away and you don't give me stick work, which is a microphone for you guys that don't know the wrestling terms I'm dropping. If you don't give me a stick and let me run my own stuff, you take away my mouthpiece, you send me out to the ring, and I don't have a problem putting people over. Don't get me wrong. Like, I put people over for his ass for like 3 months. But when I show up and you tell me who my opponent is, I don't care if I win, lose, or draw or win a title. It's all about business at the end of the day. And when I'm drawing half your crowd and I got signs out there with my name on it and not nobody out there in that audience is doing the same for the rest of your talent on your roster, I mean, open your damn eyes, first off. Second of all, when I show up and you tell me who my opponent is and I go over there and find out what I'm doing for that day or that night, whatever, and he bounces because he's got personal issues, I mean, that's cool. That's fine. That's dandy. Give me somebody else. Don't sit there and throw me out that damn curtain with nothing to be announced. Don't tell me who I'm working. Don't tell me what we're doing, what's the finish, how long we're going, or anything. And third of all, don't sit there and throw me into a damn tournament for your title that I was never even a part of in the beginning. So now you're breaking kayfabe. You're going out there and you rush me out the damn curtain. So I'm out there in the ring. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, who I'm working, how long I'm going, or anything at this point. And then when the announcer gets on there and announces that I'm in a semifinals for a damn title that I never was even a part of in the very beginning, now you just broke the entire storyline of what you were going with, if you can even call it that. So now you got the fans scratching their head on what the hell they're doing. And then you send a guy out to the ring that's 60 pounds lighter than me. Like, is this a joke? Like, well, what are we doing here? And when I walk up with him in the ring and he's telling me he's going over clean, that's when I have a problem with it. I mean, you could have at least been professional enough to tell me what's going on before I walk out that curtain instead of shove me out there. But when you lock up with me and you tell me what's going on, and I just get word to mouth from the ring right when the action starts, I even got the video on YouTube. It's Jayden Steele versus the California Kid on there. I got 60 pounds on the guy, and even weight, you could even argue with it and say, oh, weight don't matter. That's cool. But if you watch that entire match, watch my in-ring psychology, watch him. Watch the littlest mistakes this man makes, from the simplest things of like feeding. And when I was bragging about my in-ring psychology earlier, if you watch that match, watch him when he comes in, when he's working me in the corner and I catch his foot and I walk him out. He messes up the simplest things of a leg trip all the way to a damn super kick. You don't get in somebody's face for a super kick. You got to give them space. It's just bad in-ring psychology. So now you're making my work look terrible along with the way you're working on top of a 60-pound differential that these fans didn't even know I was even in a championship semifinal match to begin with. And then to try to go over clean on me, now I feel disrespected, especially from where I'm coming from. And now I'm not like, I didn't do that. Like, if you watch that video, he hits me with a blunt object and goes over. I wasn't going over clean. I told him in the ring. I called it to him. I was like, dude, you're going over dirty. You're not going over me clean. I'm not doing that. And I went to the back after that match was over. And, I bumped my ass off for that guy. And, I worked my ass off in the ring for him. And the way he sold, the way, he presented himself in that ring, I just felt very disrespected from the way the promoter brought the whole shenanigans along to throw me out in the ring with no word to mouth of anything, no finish, who I was working, no nothing, to the way that guy worked me in the ring. So when I go back to the locker room, I exchanged words with the promoter about what the hell was going on. And, I was just tired of getting bullshitted, long story cut short. And I eventually walked. I wasn't about that. And, you know, I don't hate that entire locker room by no means. I actually have a couple of buddies over there that still work for him. And, they can continue working for him. That's great. You'll never see Jayden Steele in an XW 2000 ring just from the lack of disrespect and the way that the stuff they promised, and the lies and the misconceptions and the money and all that. Like, the money was the least of my worries. Like, I went over there and worked for them for $5 damn. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, money is not an issue to me. When you take away my creative control, or you take away my in-ring capabilities, or you bullshit me and jerk me around that curtain and send me out on a blank spot of not knowing what the hell's going on, that's when I have issues. It's not like I walked up to the guy and said, hey, I want your title, or I'm walking. It was more of along the lines of, tell me the damn truth, don't bullshit me. And I eventually walked out of that company, and I mean, you'll never see me wrestle there again. I don't want to. They could offer me a title shot and, $100 million. It's all about respect to me. That's the way I was brought up, and they didn't show that. So I'll never step foot in that ring. I have buddies over there that are still working there. Like, if you listen in Six City Saints, shout out to y'all and keep doing what y'all do. But you won't see me put up with that. And it's not like I can't go work elsewhere and actually get with a group of guys that know what they're doing.
Okay. Yeah. I was just trying to think. Any other response to my answer to your question, or any other questions for me?
Yeah, where do you see yourself in a couple of years with your podcast work?
Um, well, with this, getting out of the shadows, getting out of my comfort zone, being, I don't know, showing that passion, being more talkative. I think in a couple of years, I hopefully see myself having first over, a good amount of subscribers, whatever, 1K, and be able to have more professional look and be on camera more often, and this and that, making it better for the audience just as much for myself, visually and in audio sense as well. But I still see myself doing this in 3 years on YouTube. Maybe at some point getting a break and working for a promotion in some way. In excuse me, either commentary or podcasting, whether real podcasting or kayfabe sense, like WWE sometimes, or it seems like with Sam Roberts. But otherwise, kind of like they're around the table show, which is still in kayfabe, they're WWE. But point being, is something like that aspect. I know one question I got here from Mounty's Corner. He wanted to ask for me, since we're, I guess, still on that. Talking about, hear me. What job would you like if you worked for WWE? Would you choose the same field or go on screen and do comedy? And this kind of goes along with Jane's question, asking me in general what I want to do in a couple of years, in 3 years. If I was hired by World Wrestling Entertainment, I would actually be interested in doing commentary. But my passion is still podcasting. So if WWE was it would actually have me as like podcast host of WWE, this podcast. Even if they rename it, it can't be Steve's Wrestling Ramble, it has to be something else. Whatever. I wouldn't care actually too much about that. But anyways, be an official podcast of WWE, that would be awesome. And that's what I would want to do with WWE. So technically being employed by WWE, getting paychecks from them and hosting a podcast, which then would give me the ability to use, obviously, and they would give and have some people, having a, official studio and this and that and all other great stuff. And so that's what I would want to, my number one thing I would do. But if offered, I also would be interested in learning and doing commentary, because one person that I've seen, two people really, one technically is a backstage interviewer and the other one is commentary, Renee Young and Corey Graves, and how great they've been doing since they've gotten into WWE. Now they actually had background. Corey Graves is a former wrestler himself. Renee Young, in television herself before coming to WWE. But that and learning from them from the outside, looking in. Obviously, I haven't talked to either of them. They don't know that I exist in this world. But from watching them and seeing how good that they are and how they've grown, especially Corey Graves, from being a wrestler transitioning to the commentary, after actually they had forced him to retire as a professional wrestler. And I'm sure the mentality being, do what you can and stay, and as long as you can stay with WWE, being able to be with them and be doing commentary, started in NXT and seeing how he's grown from there, just as much as you were talking about me growing from the first time you saw me or you were on my show to now. In that way, I've seen Corey Graves from when he's had his first commentary night in NXT to now doing double duty, Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live, after now taking over for JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield, on SmackDown Live for commentary. So if I was employed by World Wrestling Entertainment, that is what I would do. Pretty much number one choice being in the same field, but if given the opportunity by the company, I definitely would be game to first obviously learn, and then do comedy. Now I know it's commentary, and I know it's not some task from hearing news about that, but that's another realm and area in WWE. I definitely would be interested to go be on screen in some capacity wherever they see best, to put my pretty face on screen at that point. But number one would be, if I could, if there is such a thing, official podcast of WWE would be the number one thing, because I love doing this. And I love talking with wrestlers, so far it's into wrestlers, but doing interviews, one-on-ones, and real regular interviews, shoot interviews as they're called, and otherwise would be awesome for me to have that ability, and have that other audience, have their fan base, have the WWE audience, have the others of the WWE universe listening to my show, and some even hanging on every word or whatever, being part of that, because that's where I want to be, not just for the fame, but because I want to be able to have as many people hear my opinions on professional wrestling, my opinions on WWE and storyline, my opinions on everything that has to do with the business that I feel I have strong opinions on, whether you strongly disagree, strongly agree, whatever. As I always say, I don't care. It makes for a great debate, great and respectful debate that I always enjoy with people. And that's why I do this. That's why I do it live. As much as I might be able to change, getting new microphone, getting this and that, and I can actually have it created videos like, pretty much 90% of YouTubers do. I don't feel that as much as that actual interaction with people, even though, yes, they can comment in the videos underneath, as people do even with these, but having it live, being able to interact with people right away, right now, especially in this setting, people to ask questions as they have for Jayden or for myself, like Mounty's Corner did, and others, and just being able to interact each and every week when we're talking about Raw and SmackDown and this news item, that news item, and sometimes someone throws out a news item that I didn't even see on my radar, and I give them a shout out and thank them for that, so just interacting with my fellow fans, fellow members of the WWE Universe. I mean, I'm not any more special than anybody else because I host a podcast, because technically, if you want to, anybody can host a podcast if they want to, but I believe that I'm trying to build myself to be different from the anybody's, be something. And even Sam Roberts, who seems like he is the official podcast host of WWE in his own right, with how many people you need to talk to, and being on WWE television with pre-shows for WWE pay-per-view events, still doesn't mean he's more special or smarter than I or anybody else. He's has more eyes to him, more eyes and ears, whether he's on WTV or for his podcast every week, and that's good for him. He built himself up and whatever his story is, to be where he is. And we hope to do the same. So that, in a way, to answer the two questions there from Mounty and also Jayden as well there, in that respect there. I guess I can ask if there are any other questions you have my way, because I think I might have one more for you.
I mean, ultimately, you really nailed it. It really goes both ways. Like, I'm doing professional wrestling, you're doing podcasting. Like, at the end of the day, we both rely on the fans. I mean, with podcasting, so to speak, you rely on the fans. If you don't have an audience when you're speaking, you don't have nothing to build on. You don't have nothing to go off of. You have nothing. You just have your own voice, a ghost town. As far as like wrestling goes, without those fans, what do we have? We don't have squat. I mean, those fans make and break us. As much as you rely on those fans for your podcast, we do for our in-ring capability. So I mean, it really goes, one and one. One important question that I got is, where the hell is Mounty? That's one important question. But hey, Mounty, if you're listening, get your ass out of here, buddy. Anyway, no, man. As far as like your podcasting and stuff goes, if even if you don't grow, like I say, do it, man. Keep kicking ass. I mean, you don't have to be Sam Roberts with thousands of broadcasters. I think that the fans don't really see the hard work that like you and me, like we're both included, like with what you got to do on podcasts from what I got to do in the ring. They don't understand like the hard work that you go through with your video editing and putting forth your personal opinions and the passion and the love that you have for what you do. And it goes back and forth, with the same politics basically as like wrestling goes. But as far as the fans, they really make us, and we do what we love, and we try to give, a damn good show or a damn good podcast to the people that actually listen, and the ones that put forth the effort and even just watching me wrestle or listen to your podcast. I mean, big thank you and shout out to all of them.
Yeah, same here. To actually answer your question about Mounty's Corner, he was watching us while he was having dinner, and then he sent me DM. He said he realized he's taping a video for his channel that he has to do, so he'd be unable to make it, but hopes to make it on an episode here with you, me, and others in the future. So that's why Mounty won't be here tonight, but he was in a live chat to have the question for me and the other questions as well. So thanks, Mounty, for stopping by. I appreciate that. and hope to have
That
you.
was a deal breaker.
But that as well. But again, like I said, I was gonna have another one, but I think I'm done here with my questions. So any other, we'll finish this special episode off. Like I said, I talked about Monday Night Raw. I talked about SmackDown Live. News items I talked about on Talking WJ earlier today on YouTube. So if you want to hear my thoughts on all three of those, check those out. Again, Raw review here on this channel, SmackDown Live review on this channel, and then Thursday news and rumors on Talking WWE with Jay YouTube channel. The other podcast that I'm proud to be part of the quote unquote management team over there. Trying to do big things as we soon will be going live using an app live on camera over there for that podcast and show that's hosted by Jay himself at Talking WJ. Just the letter J on YouTube or on Twitter. But any other last words or last things you want to say? And otherwise, welcome to let people know, as always, follow you on Twitter, and otherwise for you moving forward and promote that show you're having on the 30th.
Yeah, man, like when it comes to wrestling and stuff, like I said earlier, you guys are the exact reason that I do what I do. Like I lace my boots and I walk out of that curtain, whether I'm the bad guy or I'm the good guy. Like you guys at the end of the day are the reason why I step foot in that ring and get to show off my athleticism and my professional abilities that I'm blessed to have in this life. Um, I mean, I'm a second generation. You know, I've had a father that's made it to the big mountaintop. I'm still doing my work in the ring. But, you know, at the end of the day, as long as I can put smiles on your guys' faces or get interactive with y'all as a bad guy and make y'all want to hate my guts or want to lynch me or whatever y'all do. I mean, I've gone to several towns, several places, several cities, tons of miles. And you guys don't never fail me. Like, y'all never fail me. Um, Especially when I'm heel, like you guys come up with some creative like shit to do to me, man. Like I've been swung on, I've been thrown like wads of cups with ice at them thrown at me. Um, I've gotten into trash talking battles with people. I mean, like you guys fail to surprise me on like the stuff that y'all do, and you know I get you guys interactive. You know, like I paid for your seat, like you got your money's worth. And I appreciate all of y'all that, you know, when I'm babyface and, you know, I'm doing them hope spots or, you know, I'm getting you guys off the edge of your seats there. I mean, I love everything that I do and I love how you guys support me, whether I'm heel or face. It's like almost kind of like I'm an anti heel or something. Like, I mean, I get over regardless, but you guys just can't seem to stop loving me. And it's a mutual respect, better yet. And you know, I look forward to trying to get some bookings up there in Wisconsin because I'd love to invite you out to one of the shows, man, and like let you see personally at one of the shows what it's like. You know, show you some like backstage drama.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
And
that'd be. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
yeah,
off, but I just wanted to react to that actually here live on air to say that would be pretty awesome. That'd be able to see that. Now I know obviously things would have to go right in your end, or what you feel is whatever right company or promotion, I should say, promotion here in Wisconsin that you would want to be part of for one show or however you work to do that. But no, that'd be great. You go backstage, could even if I have the right equipment, can do. What am I thinking of? Oh, sit down interviews or something, or just being backstage and not having a camera and just being there and soaking in all that stuff and the backstage life, or at least for that show, and all the other stuff. So no, that'd be pretty cool if that was able to happen at any point in the future. See Real Deal Jayden Steele here in Wisconsin, and to be able to go to a show, because as I said, as it regards to WWE, um, excuse me, I haven't been to an event of any kind, house show all the way up to WWE WrestleMania pay-per-view show. So I hope that comes down the pike. Definitely let me know. Well, obviously let me know when you know, and then we'll try to work something out from there, where it is here in the Badger State, here in Wisconsin. But no, I'll let you continue.
no, man, they'd love you actually back there, especially if you're doing sit down interviews. I mean, getting interactive with the locker room and you know letting them display what they have to say and all that. You know, I mean, I'm sure some of the boys would love that. But I mean, as far as, you know, going to any kind of show, I mean, if you're down here in the Florida area or anywhere like as close as I can get to, depending on how my booking schedule goes, you know, I'd bring you in. I'd let you see it. You know, like it's definitely an experience that you have to see for yourself in order to like understand the business more theoretically. Like I said, wrestling's wrestling, but you know, when you see it from the perspective that I have from being a fan to a wrestler, you kind of get interactive with that, and you kind of get to see like what goes on in the background. And then, you know, if you get interactive with them doing those interviews, I mean, I see it. Sit down interviews a great idea. Like I can see big things happening if you can get a hold of the indie guys. Speaking of
Exactly.
indie guys, my tag team partner Chase Britton. September 30th in Jacksonville, we have a tag team elimination three corners match, and we're going to be debuting Team IOB, which is in our blood. He's another second generation wrestler. His father was in ECW. Um, if you're interested in interviewing him, man, or doing a podcast with him, I could make something happen over there if you wanted that to work out. But
Yeah, that'd be great. Maybe having an official interview either way, but yeah, have a podcast or an interview with him. Just again, let me know of anyone, well, whoever comes to mind. But like I said, if you do come here to Wisconsin, just let me know ahead of time, and we'll try to arrange things. So yeah, sit down interview would be great. The interview again, and maybe even some of the other boys there backstage, otherwise as well. For myself, welcome to follow me on Twitter at W_podcast. Like this video, share the video if you want to, share it with indie stars, share it with any promotions, just share it with with fans, WWE fans, wrestling fans, however, pro wrestling fans, however you like. Share this video, let people know about it, let people know about Steve's Wrestling Ramble, as we can really hear each and every week. And with each and every week that it comes, I come out of my shell a little bit more and more. Again, I don't see myself going to the point of being like BC Amplified or Joe Cronin's show or stuff like that, which, hey, works for them. All respect to that, their game, and how they do things and show their passion. But I show my passion in a different way by raising my voice sometimes, but not needing to swear. You know, as long as I get my point across, as long as I articulate correctly and people can at least hear me at all, that's all I care about. And I appreciate those that are here, and some of them that are here each and every week, like Jamie, Jay Thomas, and others that are here each and every week for the podcast in the live chat and other videos. I always appreciate it and will always appreciate that for sure. So like I said, welcome to subscribe to the channel, subscribe to Jayden's channel, follow him on Twitter at RD Jayden Steele, real deal Jayden Steele, and hope everybody has a great rest of your evening or rest of your day. If you are an NFL fan, right now the New England Patriots are leading the Kansas City Chiefs.
oh, don't tell me I have it recorded.
Oh, sorry, just started the second quarter. Here, sorry about that. I didn't know that. Anyways, that's just how it is right now. Now we're watching that as after we go off here. But pretty much everybody in the world picked the New England Patriots to win this game. But we'll see how it goes here in the rest of the game moving forward. And I'm sure I will be live tweeting on my NFL podcast.
If you don't mind, let me give the details for the September 30th show.
It's just excuse me. Oh, I had I wish I actually had the information to read it like verbatim. September 30th, Jacksonville, Florida, Jayden Steele there, and it's excuse me, him and a taking partner, and all the other matches that are going on that card. Again, September 30th, Jacksonville, Florida, home to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I was have to throw some NFL in there, but again, Jacksonville, Florida, September 30th. Be there, be square. But as always,
I will also be there with my tag team partner Chase Britton. We'll be there early, so if you guys are watching this and are in the Jacksonville area or make it to that show, if you come up to me before bell time and tell me about Steve's Wrestling Ramble, I will give you a free autographed picture of yours truly for the support and love that you guys show for professional wrestling and me and myself.
There you go. You heard it here first from the horse's mouth. But again, as always, take care, everybody.